Welcome in and welcome back, my friends, to another episode of Building Blutora. And let me tell you, I may or may not have gotten a little carried away with starting off today's episode progress-wise with all of the houses that we've built on the outside of the city here. And by the way, can we just take a look at this view? I absolutely love this view. You can see just a huge chunk of the farmland right here, which I think adds such a cool feel to this area of the city right here when you're kind of walking down this road and you can start to see all the fields out here on the outskirts, especially with the mountains in the backdrop. Ooh, I love that. That's perfect. Anyway, as you guys just saw, we went ahead and built a whole bunch of these houses out here to go ahead and really hammer away a good chunk of the progress in the expansion of this city, of course. So if we go ahead and fly up here in the air, take a look from above, we did a total of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 houses. Wait, did I count that wrong? Hold on. I was gonna say something seemed a little weird there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 total houses. That's the one. Okay, I was gonna say something felt a little off. We've also got 2 more to do over there. I'm gonna go ahead and wait on those 2. And that's not even mentioning the rest of the expansion that's gonna go off into the distance that way, at least from what I have tentatively planned up to this point. Who knows at this point? This expansion might be more than big enough and we might not need to go any further off in that direction at the end of the day. I guess we'll just have to find out. But in the meantime, I went ahead and built more of these houses to go ahead and get that done so that we can bring some more of the farm fields out here, as well as some of the pathways and some other details like the occasional windmill and some other things that'll kind of really help the feel out here amongst the fields and the outskirts in general. That being said, one thing you'll notice is that I did my best to stay accurate and true to the build style that is the town of Goldcrest, of course, over there in terms of the architecture, the blocks used, all of that kind of stuff, right? It was pretty important that we did that. I could have, you know, gone and tried to overhaul the style using these blocks and try to make something better and make something a little more updated maybe. But at the end of the day, the buildings especially is one thing that I did not want to change at all, even though we're coming out here 7 years after I built the initial town, and we're kind of, you know, doing it a little bit better, kind of giving it a proper overhaul, right? I only wanted to touch up certain areas and change certain things. If we change the whole thing, it's going to end up a completely different build, and that's not really what I want to go for. I still want a little bit of that nostalgia, a little bit of that feel, you know. This is how I would build a house 7 years ago in Minecraft, right? And it's not the best thing anymore. It wasn't even the best thing then, but it was the best I could do at that time. And so I want to hold on to that little, right? I want this place to be a reminder, no matter how far off in the future we get with this world, no matter how much progress we make, no matter how good we might get at building and what we might learn. That's something that I always want to have. So anytime we visit here, the very first city, you can kind of see the very first builds, the very first kind of benchmark of what I could do in a way, right? And then of course we're touching it up a little with the roads right here, right? We've done a better road all throughout the city, and we've done a good bit of terraforming that's just improved the place, and we're just adding a huge section to the build that's gonna really take it to the next level, really overhaul it going forwards, like with these farms right here being the biggest thing, right? Of the wheat, the potatoes, we still got to do carrots, even all that kind of stuff. Gonna make a huge difference. I do believe. I'd say one of my least favorite things about this build style too is just when you get a bigger building and it gets really flat on top, there's a very specific way that I did these, and it was that the roof would only consist of 3 layers of stairs before it slabbed off at the top, so that it didn't go too far up on the rooftops. I didn't want them to be like pointy or very tall roofs. So a lot of times you'll end up with something like this house right here where it's super flat, or in the worst case scenario, the stables over here, which has always bugged me a little bit, where it's all just like really flat all the way across and really boring up here. And I've tried to consider ways to try and like alter this and make it work a little better, but without bringing the roof all the way up and without adding another floor, I'm just not sure what it is. I might be just drawing a blank on it. It might be pretty obvious. This is a good screenshot, by the way. I'm just gonna go ahead and snag that screenshot with the sun on the wheat right there. That's pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys have an idea, let me know. These birds are awful loud in the background. I'll turn them down for the next clip. But yeah, I'm not too sure, because I don't want to add another floor. I don't want to make these pointy. I'm not really, you know, I don't want to add another part of the build on here or anything. but just like a way to take a flat roof and make it a little more detailed, like keeping in mind that this is kind of the style is you know, it goes up 3 but it doesn't go up any more than that. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just drawing a big blank, like I said. Maybe it's an obvious solution, something that you guys might have a good idea for. Let me know in the comments for sure. But anyway, before we start getting attacked by all of these guys, let me go sleep real quick. That's better. He's on fire, and I don't think they'll be bugging us anytime soon. So, where was I at? Ah, yes. What we're gonna do next, after we've built these 9 houses on the expansion over here, we've got a good chunk of it done. What we do at this point, I think, is going to come down to bringing the fields kind of up to par, I guess, if you will, up to the next kind of checkpoint, which I think is going to be this line right here. All along this ridge, you can see the orange dotted wool that marks one of the outlines for the fields that we had planned, and I think we're going to use this section right here, this whole line, this little ridge right here as our little checkpoint. We're going to do all of the fields up to this point, as well as the pathways that lead you through the fields, up to the houses, all of that good stuff. We're going to get this entire half of it done. We'll have a whole bunch of fields out here. It'll be a really huge jump in progress, but hopefully it also makes a really huge difference in how this place starts to look. Obviously, having the houses already built will help tremendously. As you can see up here, this view, now that we have a house amongst the fields, is already a lot better than it was at the end of the last episode, where that wasn't the case. But I'm thinking we're going to go up to there. That'll make a huge difference. We'll build the pathways. We'll get it all connected, all tied together. And of course, any other details that we might do, like in the middle of the fields, it was suggested that maybe we can do some kind of scarecrow or something occasionally. I've never done anything like that in Minecraft, but I do think it would be a really nice touch. It's one of those simple things that can maybe go a long way to just add that nice little bit of detail to the build, especially if we just place it on one of these slabs, right? We already have these little openings. I'm not saying we're going to do it everywhere, but maybe like 1 or 2 per field, I guess, depending on the size, right? Just find one of these slabs and try to figure out a little scarecrow design, maybe experiment around with some things and see if we can't find something that looks pretty good overall. Also, one thing, I really like the kind of free-range horses we have here. Obviously, it's like sheep and pigs too, just Minecraft-y kind of things, but I really like the horses especially. I feel like it makes a lot of sense to have them kind of out and about in these vast plains. I always really like that touch about this region that just kind of naturally happened with the world and the mob spawning, I suppose, the generation of everything. But enough dilly-dallying, enough rambling on about this. Let me go ahead and start to get to work on some of these fields, some of the pathways, and we'll try to see how much progress we can get done here. And I think after we do all of this progress, as long as future me remembers, I want to try and tackle that windmill up there on the hill right above my head. We had that planned out with an X, if you remember from the last episode. I want to try and build that and see if we can't come up with a pretty good design for it, something that really adds a whole new element to the feel of this place. And we'll also maybe take a look at the scarecrows as well. But all of that's got to wait until we can get some more of these fields done, some more of the progress, get up to that checkpoint that we've laid out. And with that, let's go ahead and jump on into it. Alright, so that is all of the farmland up to date, as well as the roads around this section of the expansion over here, up to the checkpoint that we had talked about previously. And now I'm up here by where I plan to do the windmill, where I've got an entire farm by the looks of it. I swear, more and more animals end up here every time I come up here. We've got cows, sheep, pigs, chickens. We've got the whole thing. Everything's here. You ever need an animal? We've got horses too. It's all here. I don't know where you all came from. I don't know why you're all here, but now I can't record in peace. So I guess we got to deal with these guys. Anyway, right here, we have the windmill. This is where we're going to try and come up with some kind of a design. I'm not too sure what we're going to go with yet. I don't have like a style that I planned out in creative or anything like that. I'm going to totally wing it based on some kind of designs, some concepts, some things I'm familiar with. Not in a Minecraft sense, but just like medieval windmills in general, that kind of style. Gonna try to come up with something that I think would look good and kind of fit this area. I've got with me some of the building materials that we use here in the town of Goldcrest, of course. You'll see mostly like in the houses, right? We've got the cobblestone, we've got the diorite, the oak logs, we got some spruce wood. This is just endstone brick wall in my resource pack that has been retextured to look like oak log, but with a wall block in that it's smaller, and you can kind of utilize it in some various different ways, right? I usually use this for custom trees and stuff, but it also makes a really good detail occasionally. I don't know if we'll use it, but I brought it just in case. We might end up needing it. Of course, some wool and some lanterns as well. The wool will be in the old spinny thing on the windmill here, the spin around blade spin blade thing. I don't know what you call it. I don't know if you call it a propeller or not. Anyway, you get the idea. We're gonna try to come up with a design here, so I'll be back in just a second. I'm gonna try and lay out some kind of a foundation, get like a size, kind of get a feel for what I'm going for, and then I'll kind of explain it as I go. Alright, so I've gone ahead and built a little something right here to try and kind of feel it out a little bit, see how I'm thinking in terms of the very kind of base structure that will be the windmill, of course. I've only gotten these two sides and this corner as well in place. Not done anything with the spinny blade or a roof quite yet. The roof is something that I'm a little stumped on, and I gotta think on that a little bit more before I fully commit to something here. But I was going for something that would feel a little bit like we use kind of the bark texture as a bit of a framework throughout, and then the planks are kind of the normal wall. That was sort of what I was going for here. I wanted like a stone foundation for it, and then the actual building to be a little bit more wood-based. And I think so far this is pretty good. Obviously, you can't do perfect circles in Minecraft, so it's always going to be a little weird, a little strange, a little sharp in some edges and what have you. But I think all things considered, this could definitely work really good for us. Because this is all on the same kind of block, I guess, the same plane, I went ahead and put in some stairs here at the transition of the walls so that we would get a little bit of depth and we wouldn't have a perfectly, you know, flat, smooth transition that I don't usually like when that happens, when it's two different blocks just kind of blending together like that. Well, I guess I should say they don't blend together, and that's why I don't like it. It just looks kind of weird and off, but overall, I think this is a good start. I have not yet taken a look at it from like down here on the road or anything with the wood up there. I did kind of with the foundation, and I feel like that works fine. I think overall this height's not bad, especially when we get a roof in there. We'll probably have some sort of like pointed roof, and I'm thinking I'll probably use some sort of like stone type of block up there. I don't want to use any more wood. It's going to blend in too much, and I don't think it'll look quite right. We're still kind of sticking to the palette that is the Goldcrest style with the diorite and the cobblestone mix, and then the spruce wood and oak logs. So because we did the oak logs and spruce wood kind of up on the walls right here, I'm thinking we'll probably either go back to using these blocks in the foundation up for the roof as well, or I might mix in some smooth stone and stone brick perhaps, because we do use those in our wall designs around the city as well. Not much in the houses ever, but it is something that we do use out here, and I could perhaps see it working. I just have to kind of try out a couple different things and see what I like the most, and then of course I'll do the spinny blade propeller thing at the very end, and it will be on this front side where it's kind of overlooking the entire field, because I think that will definitely give us the best overall kind of view from down on this half of the expansion when you're walking around, whether you're in the fields or the houses or whatever it might be. I think it just kind of overlooking this area would be absolutely perfect. But I like this so far. I'm gonna go grab some stone brick and some smooth stone, and I already have some of the cobblestone diorite. I got stairs and all of that on me to try and figure something out for the roof here. And I guess I'll get with you in a second once I have something figured out. Now, bear with me here. At first, it's maybe a little jarring and probably not the play That's what I thought, at least when I first got done building this with the cobblestone and the diorite for the roof, using stairs all the way around and just kind of going for a pretty tame, just kind of pointed up roof right here. It's got a little bit of a weird angle, and that'll make sense in a second when I show you. It's kind of closer in detail here. It's not perfectly rounded all the way around each side. There's a little bit of a wonkiness in it, which I kind of added for some flavor or some character, however you want to look at it. But either way, I think it's actually not bad. I don't hate it. Now, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you guys all hate it. You'll have to let me know in the comments. But I think this is actually pretty good. See, I wanted to go for something that felt pretty unique, in that I wasn't trying to build something that like a bunch of people have already done in Minecraft for these windmills, right? Because there's so many different designs, so many things people have done, and usually it kind of comes down to a pretty simple kind of concept, or a very simple sort of path that you follow when building these, and they all kind of look similar. And with this one, I feel like this doesn't look anything alike any other windmills you've probably ever seen in Minecraft, at least none that I've seen, especially when like doing some research and looking at some of the things people have built. And it also fits in with the town of Goldcrest here, right? We're using the same palette, the same kind of theme, and while yes, it is a little reversed here in that the wood is on the walls instead of the ceiling and whatnot, whereas in the houses it's kind of flip-flopped, and we use the stone for the buildings, and the ceiling is and the roof are done with wood. But overall, I don't hate it. I actually like it, and I think once we get the spinny boy out front, and you can see that from each side, you know, back here you'll see it with the blades sticking out on either side. It'll probably be big enough for that, and on the other side, of course, you'll see it, you know, and it's just kind of a given. Now, the only thing I'm thinking could maybe be different about this, because I kind of like the materials, is maybe I make it, oh, let me get back up there. Maybe I make it a little steeper, because, you know, from a distance, it kind of feels a little short, if anything. The roof right here, here's a little bit of detail that I did. As it comes up in height, there is this one spot right here, and you can't angle stairs like that. So I went ahead and kept a stair here instead of like a slab or anything, and then I just put a full block there. And so from the side, especially from afar, you'll kind of see this come out a little further. It gives it a little bit of character. But I don't know, honestly. I'm kind of conflicted right now as I'm looking at this from all kinds of different angles. Love that the field's growing in, by the way. But maybe it could be a little bit steeper, and maybe that's the solution to kind of completely bring this from an okay, and the more you look at it, the better it gets kind of build, to a for sure that's the way to go sort of build. Because I also think it would blend in a lot better with the base down here if it was a little steeper up top. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure quite how to explain why I'm specifically thinking that would be the case, but I do want to try it. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. Maybe I'm crazy for liking the little bit of character that is in this roof, and it's not just on this side, it's everywhere. But I went ahead and I tried to make it a little steeper, a little bit taller, the roof itself, but it's not a lot taller. So basically this is what I did. Up here on top, I went ahead and added a couple more full blocks in here and kind of changed a little bit of the shape around the place. I tried it first, instead of doing any stairs on the second layer, doing just full blocks and then bringing the stairs up, and just basically adding a block to each layer, and I definitely did not like how that looked. That did not look good whatsoever. So instead, I kind of went for this little bit of a mashup between sort of this circular pointed roof, but also a kind of dome shape in some spots. Over in the city of Alethio that we're building on stream, the Mountain Kingdom, in the palace, we built with dome roofs, and this is one of the things I would do when building the dome roof, is on the sides of each of these layers, we'd bring a stair up instead of a block over or a stair in. It would kind of round out, right? And you'd use a lot of these rounded shapes. Now, I didn't do that everywhere here, of course, but I added a little bit of that in, and that's what gives us that little bit of a wonky look if you're looking at it from certain angles. Doggo complaining in the background. But I'm thinking it's pretty good. I'm actually pretty happy with it. Like, if we look at it from over here, especially on the diagonals, you can see the full effect of kind of this wonk that we get out of it. And it, you know, when it's nice and centered on the corner right here, and you can kind of see it working on both sides, I don't actually mind it whatsoever. Even if it's just one side, if you're looking at it from a weird angle and you only catch one of the the weird kind of lumps in the roof, if you will. I think it just adds a little bit of character. Maybe I'm crazy for actually liking it. Maybe it's not a good play, but I think this does fix our height problem. It's ever so slightly taller, like barely noticeable, but I think it's just enough that this will be a very, very nice windmill. All that's left to do at this point is to, of course, actually make it work by having a propeller there, or like, you know, work, quote unquote. Obviously it's not gonna spin, but like, you know, it's a windmill and we don't have the thing for the wind, and we still need to add the thing for the wind. So let me add the thing for the wind, and then we'll see our windmill in full completion. Aha, spinny thing acquired. And let me tell you, it took a little bit longer than maybe I expected going into it. I've never done a windmill or anything like that before, so getting a design that worked in a way that I thought at least looked kind of good took a little bit of time. At first, I tried like a darker wood, but then it blended in with the rest of the building. I had the wool be a little thicker at some times, and I didn't really like that either. So this is what I settled on. It's probably not the best thing in the world, but I guess for the first ever kind of spinny thing I've ever had to build, you know what, I can live with it. It's all right. It kind of, you know, it fits the area. I'm okay with it. And you know what, the whole windmill in a fully completed, oh heck, in a fully completed state up on top of the hill up there, it does look really good, and I do like it. It adds a lot to this place. It's just perfectly placed. If anything, I think we could have, you know, built the ugliest thing ever and it still would look good, just because of where it's at realistically, with the houses, this formation as well, the fields, you know, the towers over here, the city. I think it just all works out nicely. When you're walking down this road, it is breathtaking. I absolutely love it, and we haven't even gotten all of the trees in place or anything like that yet. Not to say that it's going to be full of trees absolutely everywhere, but there will be a good amount of them every so often, and it'll really start to spice up the area, especially because they'll be custom trees and they'll look a little bit better than otherwise. But anyway, I'm really happy with that. I didn't get to the scarecrows today, but that's probably something I'll be looking at in the next episode. I think this one's gone on pretty good and well enough at this point. One thing I will say as well, you might have noticed my shield right here and my my turtle helmet. Some things have been going on over on the stream. If you're not watching the Twitch stream when we're live, and occasionally even here on YouTube when we're live as of late, definitely I recommend popping in, of course, if you're able to. If not, that's what these videos are for, so you can get caught up. But we have finished the Mountain Kingdom, and we have started a brand new city. One of the main areas, such as Goldcrest or the Mountain Kingdom of Lethio, and all of the other similar ones, right? It's one of the main 24 on the continent of Blutora, and it's a pretty big deal. It's the city of Ahatos. This is the banner for it, so I've swapped my shield out officially. I haven't been swapping my shield back to Goldcrest when I build out here as of late. You may have noticed that. I've been slacking a little bit, but I'll try to get on that at the future episodes. I'll try to remember. I'm just not good at remembering things. But anyway, with that out of the way, with the windmill done, with the farms built, I think I'm really happy with today's episode. On a side note real quick, also, I didn't actually get a time-lapse for the carrot field behind me over there, and that is because I had an error occur in my replay mod recording, and I'm not sure why, I'm not sure how. I may have figured it out by the time this episode drops, I'm not too sure, but either way, I could not get this entire time lapse right here behind me, and then half of the big field of wheat over there that you did see a little bit of, because it was in two different recordings. But it gave me an error saying that it disconnected me because it couldn't verify the chat messages, which is weird because this is single player and there was no chat messages because it's single player and it's a replay mod, so it's just a recording, which means I should be able to load it up just fine and not have any issues or get kicked out. So I don't know, it's weird. Maybe I'll get it figured out, I don't know, but hey, if you have an idea, drop it in the comments anyway, just in case. It might help, who knows. I made sure I had the most recent update of replay mod. I made sure that I restarted the game, tried it again. I tried various different times throughout it, but it's the same exact time every time. You can't go past it. It's like, I don't know, halfway through the replay file. You can't go past it at any point. It'll kick you, but you can do everything up to that point. I don't know, it's weird. I don't know these things, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode today, and I hope you're looking forward to the next one, where we might do some scarecrows. We got to finish doing some other fields over on the other side of that hill over there. If I look at the map, you can see we've got this area over here, which won't have nearly as many fields and roads, just a couple little things scattered about. We should be able to get all of those done on the next one. Maybe we'll do another windmill or two. I think up here could be a good spot, and I don't know, I guess we'll figure it out. We'll just have to see on the next one. Thanks so much for stopping on by, checking out the progress, and I hope you're as happy with it as I am. I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, stay wholesome.